everyone, and welcome to everyone to night 2, El Dos of WrestleMania, the greatest mania that's ever maniaed, even though it's all fake, even though everything's storylines.
Wrestling's fake?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to break it to you like that.
Stop recording. Recording!
Wrestling, my dear, everyone, kayfabe is dead. The Rock killed it. Wrestling is fake.
Yeah, I think The Rock did kill it.
Him and Triple H, if we're really being honest, because we got WWE unreal. Because, it's about the unrealness of wrestling. Nothing's real. Oh, Jesus. So, I am your host, Dana, joined by Mr. Danny Martinez. How are you doing, Mr. Martinez?
He
is the brother of El Grande.
El Grande Americano. Yeah. I think that's racist.
Americano. I just picked out any Latino. Like, you're the brother, sir. How does it feel? He represents you.
Does he? Does he now?
So we will just break down everything that happened during WrestleMania Night 2, all of the lovely matches that happened, and I think we can kind of both agree that this was kind of better than Night 1. What are your overall thoughts on Night 2 of the Wrestle and the Manias?
Yeah, I think the matches themselves were a lot more fun overall, and more intense and more tense, I guess. Also, it was much more well done. And again, people were mad about the fact that the main events for both of these WrestleManias both weren't world heavyweight championships. I think that's like a thing that we're just used to. But I really agree with Night 1 and Night 2 and how they made those the main event, because story-wise, they were more emotional and more like people were more aware of it. And I think it was stronger for the company to show those off towards the end of the night. So they did a really good job at pacing the momentum with Night 2 better and story-wise and just everything. Yeah, Night 2 was way better.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I thought that it was a lot more fun. Of course, there were some disappointments for me. But overall, storyline-wise, I thought it was really great. And here's the weird thing. I think that it was kind of designed that way. Because you had like a meh. It was like meh, and then it kind of like improved when it came to Night 1. And then we had that big shocker of what would Paul Heyman do. That was the cliffhanger of the fake show. Like writing. Because, so you had that big cliffhanger moment. And it's like, tune in next time for Night 2. So that's what it kind of felt like. And then we had what's going to go on with the rest of the storylines, and also what's going to go on with the thingy at the end of the match for John Cena. What's going to happen there? So I thought it worked in that regard. You had a nice little roller coaster, and for this one, you had a roller coaster of a ride as well. Obviously, I don't remember that there's ever been a 10 for 10 for 10 for 10 match on a WrestleMania card.
Mm-hmm.
Even WrestleMania 40 had some of its like meh moments.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just kind of dive right on into it. The first match of the El Nighto is, of course, the triple threat and a lot of triple threats. This is for the World's Women's Championship. Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair. What are your thoughts?
I got proven wrong again. I like doing predictions, and I like this. I like to, I guess, boast that like 80% of the time I'm right with what I call them the matches. But this was one of those matches that I was wrong about. I really called that like Io Sky was going to lose the match because I felt that she was just. We talked about this in when we were talking about Night 1, or I mentioned this, that WWE has a bad track record of pushing wrestlers that English isn't their second language. Isn't their first language. So Io Sky, we know she doesn't speak English well. So I thought she was just holding the belt. She's just warming the belt up for whoever was going to win between Rhea and Bianca. And that was it. I didn't think she was going to get pushed. I didn't think she was going to win, and I got proven wrong. And that was actually a good surprise. It's a really good surprise. Like Io Sky is talented as well. She needs work on the mic just because, you know, it's hard for her to speak English, but I don't see that as a problem. So I was very happy with the outcome that she won. I think there was more of an intensity and more of an interesting in-ring story being told with Bianca and Rhea kind of fighting together more so. And then Io will kind of like butt herself into the middle because she's annoyed that she's not being recognized, because people think the same way I was thinking, is that she's just she's just a middleman that doesn't really matter right now. So it was kind of like really good storytelling in that sense in the ring. Honestly, I barely remember their intros, like their presentation and stuff. I remember Bianca, she had a bunch of kids jump roping. I think one of them was like her stepdaughter, I think it was.
Yep, Montez Ford's kid.
Yeah, which was pretty cool. It was a sweet moment there. Aside from that, I can't. Io Sky, actually, no, lies. I remember Io Sky's intro. Io Sky's intros was every other intro you see every other time. Like, why didn't she get something special? I think that's what they were aiming for also. Because she was forgotten. So it's like she doesn't matter. So, and that was another reason. As soon as I saw her intro, and she was the first one out too, the champion, the first one out. And I was just like, they really don't care about her. They really didn't even bother doing an intro for her. She's going to lose this match. They really don't care. They got me. They got me too. So very, very well done.
Yeah. I thought this was amazing. I thought the presentation was great because they did have the Rhea Ripley. She did come out, and they spent some time with her, and they had, of course, Bianca came out with the double Dutch, because remember last year was the dancers.
Yeah.
So now they're doing double Dutch. I love how black they kept it, and so that was really nice. And then Io was, her coming out first, like you didn't realize that it was her. She even came out. You could have just went to the bathroom, and that was the whole point. Because remember, leading up to this whole thing, it's always been Bianca and Rhea, and she's the one with the actual belt, which made it more insulting. Mm-hmm. But the way how they always framed this was Rhea and Bianca always having that kind of feud with each other, and even coming out and yelling at each other during their each other's matches and things. So that worked out. And then you have poor little Io, she's like, in the corner. No one paying any attention to her. That's how I even thought the entire match was going to be. I thought the match was going to just be with Rhea and Bianca trying to kill each other, and then Io in the back, Io in the back. Hello, how you doing? I have the belt. Me. And I thought she was going to lose by not even getting pinned. But she won. And I'm like, this is amazing. I thought it was such a really good match. I loved how they played on it. Of course, there was a lot of they did Belair did the Razor Ramon. She did the Razor's Edge.
I don't remember.
That? So that was really good. It was a lot of callbacks to the olden days. And she did a 450 splash.
Oh yeah.
So she ended, and then she did the Riptide. I believe Belair did the Riptide on Rhea. So this was a very
I know. I actually didn't like that, because when I was watching it with my friend and that happened, I'm like, I mean, I hate people in general. We don't like it when sell a finisher on somebody, but now you're selling a finisher on yourself. Like you're kicking out of your own finisher, and that was a bit weird for me.
Yeah, I get it. I do, but don't. It's all choreographed and scripted.
Yeah.
So,
but
But then, of course, you have the hair. Belair always has that hair advantage. And she was whipping.
I was waiting for that crack.
I think the best crack was that Elimination Chamber.
Elimination Chamber, yeah.
I think her braid has to be mic'd, because it just sounds like something from 400 years ago, where we had to endure.
Wow.
I mean, if we're being honest, 400 years ago. That is exactly what it sounds like. So I'm like, payback. I love you. But then also, we have to talk. Her streak is over. Her WrestleMania streak is over. You know, those DEI policies came through. She can no longer have that WrestleMania streak.
Jesus.
So they got rid of her streak, but Io retained. Rhea got nothing. She has nothing. She did come out with that really like cool entrance as well, though. But other than that, she got nothing. They didn't have a band playing for her, did she? Did they?
Not this year. They did it last year.
Not this year. They did last year because Cult of Personality thing, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they did that. So overall, I feel that this was a really, really fun match. It was a lot of energy. Nobody really botched or anything like the Charlotte and Tiffany, which just kept getting from disaster to more disastrous. So this was great. I love this. Have absolutely no problem with it. I love the fact that Rhea retained. Well, she was like, "Look, you're gonna notice me now. I'm here. You paid no attention to me, so ha ha." And it's okay because Bianca doesn't need the streak, even though she had the streak, but she doesn't need it because she's still just amazing. And Rhea didn't win, and I didn't think she really should have even been in this match. Because remember, all she did was just sign her name to the contract. I'm like, this is how we get into things.
Is that even legal? That's not how it works.
That's not how it works. Kind of reminded me of Sinners when the blacks and the Asians was having their nice little hoedown.
Oh, don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. I still gotta watch that movie. Don't spoil it for me.
You still haven't read it?
I haven't seen it yet. I want to watch it. Yeah.
All right, I won't say anything. We will move on, but I think this is absolutely fantastical. So we will move on to, I would have to say this was downright disappointing from just the title alone, the name of it alone. This is the Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in a Sin City Street Fight match, where we saw no Sin City and no street fight. We saw no streets of Sin City or anything. I thought that this could have at least been in somebody's casino.
It's just a no DQ match. That's all it is.
It's a no DQ match. This could have been a lot of fun. This could have been, you could argue, a mini version of, what is it called? Anarchy in the Arena. Remember AEW's very first Anarchy in the Arena? Back during 2020? When he came out in a horse? Adam Page had a horse.
Oh, Adam Page. Yeah, I do remember that. Okay.
Remember and they were fighting on a football field?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Like, it went from every different part of the building. I think that this could have easily been a Las Vegas, like a literal street fight match in Vegas, where we enter into a casino, we're beating each other in the head with coins, we're twirling them around on that little poker thing. I don't go to casinos. But
I do miss those days where there used to be like fights out in the streets or in public, or like in a bar, in a freaking 7-Eleven. Like, remember Booker T and Stone Cold? Like something, anything. We don't get that anymore.
We don't. This is why I was extremely disappointed. How do you call it Sin City Street and Fight match? There's no sense. You're literally in Vegas. This could have taken place anywhere, and it doesn't even have to be at like Caesar's Palace or anything. Even though you could have like gotten a room and decorated it all really nice and pretty, throw some slot machines in there. You could have just had it. What about a wedding chapel? You randomly roll up into a wedding chapel. You know what they could have did? That would have been hilarious. From my understanding, remember when Stephanie and Triple H got married?
Yeah.
Wasn't it at a wedding chapel?
Mm-hmm.
And they did the drive-through, and she's all like, "Oh," and he's like, we're gonna consummate the marriage."
No consent thing, yeah.
That no consent situation. Oh, the 90s were wild. But they could have easily have like not reenacted, but been like, "That's where Triple H and Stephanie got married," or something.
Yeah. Oh, then I would have loved that.
What in the streets? I've been like, something. This had no personality at all. It was just a regular street fight match in a regular old stadium. What was they at? The Allegiant Stadium? I was so just disappointed. He's like, I don't know where they're at.
Yeah.
What?
I don't pay no mind
to
the arena sometimes.
Yeah, I was disappointed about the whole thing, but when it came to like Drew and Damian Priest itself, they did a really great job with it. Drew McIntyre brought back the screenshot to his Twitter feed
His selfie,
where
that
he was
was
like, "Yes,
hilarious.
the
I
selfie."
was I was watching WrestleMania while I was on Twitter, and then his freaking post shows up. I was dying for 5 minutes. Like, I can't believe he did that.
It was his brother's cell phone that he took. Because I'm like, how did they do that? So his brother was the one whose cell phone that he took.
He set
And
it
from
up.
last year, it said bored at work. And he's like, still bored at work. Cheese.
Yeah.
And
That
that's
was
how it
good.
got uploaded. It was so good. I really did love that. But yeah, it was just an average, no DQ match with some chairs in there.
I gotta mention something about it. Because I agree with you 100% on it. It was a pretty, like, they did a good job with the match, but it was just like okay, and then the whole street fight thing was stupid. But I mentioned this about night 1 with the War Raiders. So now night 2, freaking McIntyre had to promote Doom, which is what another ad that they were trying to push. He wore a really bad 3D printed looking crap for armor. And then they had like a Doom monument with the Doom guy on there, and he had to like he had to pose with it, and he did a whole thing with it. And I'm like, this is not Drew McIntyre. This is clearly something that they're forcing him to do as an ad. And then when he gets on stage, gets in the ring, and he starts taking off his stuff, he looks visibly annoyed that he's wearing the costume. Like, he's taking it off, and he's just like, freaking stupid. He's throwing it on the like outside the ring and stuff, and he's just like making a face, and I'm just like, yo, whether he's in character or not, he clearly doesn't. He thinks this is dumb.
Yes, I completely agree with that, and then I guess that leads into something I wanted to bring in. Is TKO ruining wrestling?
Yes, I think so.
Yes,
I 100% think so. No hesitation. Yeah.
Next question. Because it was like, we've had brand sponsorships before. It's just never been so
saturated,
over the top, saturated. So it is slightly disappointing to see. I think the ring itself
we got not even just the ring is so congested with the logos, but we got commentators pushing ads every few minutes as they're trying to call the match. Like, they're trying to make references to a video game, or they're trying to make a reference to like whatever fucking Snickers commercial or Snickers sponsorship or whatever it is. Like, they're trying to force it into the commentating as the match is still going on top of before a match and after a match. And then we got the ads in between on the ring mat itself. Like, it's way too much. And not to mention, I know this is not WrestleMania, but Raw pissed me off. The following Raw after WrestleMania, we got 30 minutes of actual wrestling between, what was it, 2 or 3 matches? The rest of it was just ads, nothing but commercials. I would fast forward, and I would still end up in a commercial.
That is entirely true.
Really bad.
So what you're saying is you didn't like those, what was it, those boxes of juice? I can't remember what juice it was that they were selling. But
Clearly
they were trying to promote juice. And they had the juice boxes, which you knew there was nothing in there, because it was all like, yay! With the juice box. So, yeah, it's gotten very over the top. I will say that it's starting to become a distraction. Maybe Vince was right after all.
Vince tried to keep things clean as much as possible while still trying to make that revenue. It was a hard balance, but he made it work.
It felt very corporate. Like everything. Like, we know that WWE is a corporation, but it just felt corporate. It looked corporate. We saw nothing but corporate. I don't know if you watch UFC, but is the mat that congested?
It's more or less, yes, the same. Like, they have logos on the mat as well, and on the posts of the fence and everything, but they don't. push stuff like WrestleMania did.
Mm-hmm. That is very true. And you know what's also true? Tropicana orange juice. The truest orange juice you will ever find.
Oh, jeez.
Intercontinental Championship match. But we had the Bron Breaker, the Breaker of Bronze, versus Finn Balor, the dead demon that no longer exists, versus Penta, versus Dominik, Eddie Guerrero, Mysterio. What are your thoughts on this Fabuloso match?
Very good match. Very good wrestlers. It was momentum was up pretty much the whole time from what I can remember. So it was a very fun match. Bron was just as intense as always, and I expected him to win because they're pushing him to the moon as he deserves. And honestly, I was talking while the match was going on. I was talking with my friend Danny about it, and we were also saying how Dom would put in so much work. Like he started off as this green guy, and he sucked. I mean, I still think he's not the best wrestler, but he is a great character. He's probably one of the best characters we've seen in a very long time, especially more so as a heel. He's a great character, and I think he put in the work. We talked about how Dom not only always shows up to work for the actual televised shows, but he shows up to televised shows. He works at house shows. He works at the training center. Like he is just constantly trying to get better. And his work has shown at that point. And lo and behold, he wins the match clean at that as well. Won the match pretty much clean. And I was very surprised, and I was like, that's well deserved. What the hell are they gonna do with Bron Breakker now? Because I thought they were pushing him more, and obviously we see later on that they're gonna do stuff with him and Paul Heyman and everything. But I was actually very happy. I was happy with the outcome. I think he deserves it. I think he could do a lot of good with it. It's kind of like that situation with the Miz. Like Miz is a very charismatic person. He's okay in the ring, but he's just better as a character, especially as a heel. And he did a lot with the Intercontinental and the U.S. titles when he used to hold them. So I think Dom could kind of do the same thing in this same situation. So yeah, I'm happy for it. And I was happy with all of it.
I love Dom. And that wasn't always the case. It was like, oh, he's annoying.
But he's supposed to be annoying.
No, but like annoying. Like he's supposed to be annoying.
The bad kind of heat.
Actually came up with really annoying. And so I think that, and you kind of talked about this earlier when it came to like, when I was like, oh, Rey Mysterio put it in this contract and you have to do this. And kind of like, but I never really felt that they were forcing Rey down our throats. Not Rey, Dominik. He just happened to be there. And I think that when they put him in with the Judgment Day, it really helped him to shape who he is as a personality and as a wrestler. And I think all of them, Liv Morgan as well, kind of helped, and then Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley kind of helped to craft him into what he is now. And it really is something like, it reminds me a little bit of like Cena, because remember people hated Cena for the longest, and then they kind of loved him. Right. So he's finally getting that crowd love, and I didn't expect for him to win. I thought Bron Breakker was going to just kill everybody and call it a day. We've seen kind of previously where he gave the most beautiful spear I have ever seen. I think it was on Raw, where it was just perfect.
Who was it? Who did it give the spear to? Was it Sheamus?
Was it Carlito?
Carlito. Yes, it was Carlito. That was beautiful spear. Yeah. It
was the most beautiful spear. And Carlito was in this match. You know, he was kind of like, trying to pull down the top rope to send one of them flying. I forgot which one it was. It was to get Breakker back. Remember, so Breakker was running, and then he pulled down the rope to try to kill Breakker. It didn't really work. He crashed to the floor, but he's still alive. He's one of those hard. He reminds me so much of Brock Lesnar, even though that is a Steiner boy. But I loved everything that and then clearly they have plans for him because on Monday he's like Team Heyman along with Seth Rollins. So he's plenty of things to do. He's perfectly fine. But I really did like the Dominik Mysterio. What really surprised me the most was the crowd reaction. Because remember, he won. They were like, yay! And then he came back. They kept cheering for him to come back.
Yeah.
When he came back.
They were happy for it.
And you could see him like crying.
Mm-hmm.
It was so beautiful. So I really loved it. I think Bron stood strong. Dominik stood strong. And I felt really bad for Finn Balor because he just exists.
Yeah. Ever since he lost his Universal title for that injury, everything has been downhill for him. I really think they need to bring back the demon gimmick, and he needs to go face again.
I don't think he likes it. I'm not sure if he really likes it, the demon gimmick.
He liked it, but he said that he likes to use it more as like a special thing, not like a consistent thing. And that's exactly what was going on, is that they kept on pushing for the demon to appear more and more and more often. And even more so, every time he did appear, he would lose as the demon. So it was just like, it stopped being special. So that's why he kind of stopped using it.
Well, WrestleMania should have been the day you bring it out. I mean, he needed something. Because the crowd was behind Dominik. Braun Breaker is just a murderer. I need some demons or something. Come on now. She should have brought it back. But then I guess kind of moving on from that was the surprise of the night. I still think it was great. I know a lot of people are arguing and saying that it was terrible. But this was the open challenge from Randy Orton. We didn't know who it was going to be. People was like, it's Rooster. It's Alistair.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's AJ Lee. No one knew. And it ended up being the man that everyone believed in, Joe Hendry from TNA. What are your thoughts? I love this. This was short. It was simple. And I think they made a message behind this. What were your thoughts on the biggest?
I can see the message you probably think about. Well, first, I thought my personal theory was that, and I know it wasn't going to happen, but what I would have loved is that his opponent was Mr. Howdy. And that was because number one, Uncle Howdy. Sorry, Uncle Howdy. Oh, and that's because they had pushed the Wyatt Six for a while, and then they disappeared. Uncle Howdy or Bo Dallas, he eventually got cleared to wrestle again because he had an injury, and we still haven't heard anything. And they even delayed stuff for Alexa Bliss because they had plans on doing stuff for Wyatt Six. So I was just like, they should have Uncle Howdy, because that was one of the best feuds that we had seen with Bray Wyatt. Was with him. You know, I know Bray Wyatt's last match was with LA Knight, but I think him and Orton had one of the best matches, the best feuds before he passed away. So it would have been great for Uncle Howdy to kind of like continue that, but we didn't get it. As soon as you see that silhouette, I was just like, no. And then his music came on, and I was just like, oh my God, they have a TNA guy on a champion at that. A champion at WrestleMania. So the crowd went crazy, and I think this was a great idea because this exposes TNA. This also shows that to WWE that the crowd knows who this guy is. So Joe Hendry is set. Like, whenever he's ready to go to WWE, I think they would take him right away because they already know that he gets that crowd reaction and they love him. So I think it was a good thing. And also, I'm pretty sure it was confirmed. Randy Orton was the one that picked the wrestler, and he picked Joe Hendry because he likes him. So I thought that was great too. That's a great sign that this legend wanted to fight this guy. The match itself was like, okay. It was more of just like two guys having fun. And it was a bit comedic. It was very lighthearted and fun. Like, it was just like an exhibition match. It was just nothing to it, nothing important. I loved it just because of how just fun it was. They were just having fun. And then I think Everybody's saying that the best RKO in the world is the one with Seth Rollins, and he pops him up after getting the thing. I think this Joe Henry one beats that because I think of how hilarious it is. Just the camera angle and him just turning around and doing the smile, and then just Randy just off frame just comes out of nowhere and just RKO's him, and then fighting him afterwards. I think that was the best and funniest RKO ever. And I couldn't stop laughing when we saw that. And then afterwards you get Randy Orton kind of like having fun. He's kind of taunting him a little bit. And then he does the Joe Henry turn, but then he does the pose, his pose and stuff. And he kind of just brushes him off and he's just happy about it. And then they kind of hug. And they kind of just like, yeah, you did good. Yeah. And then another RKO. And so I can see that kind of WWE could also be sending a message just like, look who's the dominant one. Like who's the one doing, we're the one that makes the money. You're below the totem pole type of thing. This is why you're on the floor and Randy Orton's above you and all that. I can see that some people are looking at it that way. I don't think it's that way. I think it's more of just like, look at this partnership. Look at us having fun with them. Just enjoy it for what it is, and that's it.
I thought this was absolutely brilliant. I would have never thought him. I don't watch TNA like that. And now that I got rid of cable, I can't watch TNA at all, which makes me sad. Someone send me something, please. I thought that this was absolutely amazing. And I have to applaud not just Randy and Joe, but the production team. Because the way how this was shot, when he did, I believe in Joe Henry, and then he turned around, and then they zoomed in, that whole thing was a production.
Yeah.
And then how the way that Randy Orton just popped up into frame was great. And they've been so good at making sure that the blocking is right when it comes to surprises.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll even with the Bron situation, and then there were other situations. So with Randy Orton, when it came to Raw, just the blocking has been delicious. And I thought that this was such an amazing, fun match. Yes, I would have loved Alistair. Yes, I would have loved Russo. Or as you stated, Alco Howdy. It would have been nice that we remember when they first debuted and they murdered a whole bunch of wrestlers. And it looked like everyone got shot in the head.
Oh, Wyatt Six? Yeah, that was a great intro.
Wyatt Six and everyone. Remember, Chad Gable is technically dead.
He looked like he shot him in the head.
Shot in the head, which is where, and then you can make the argument. He doesn't know what's going on, and his personality split, and he's El Grande Americano. So, long-term storyline. Long-term storyline, everyone. But I thought that the production of this was amazing. I would have loved, obviously, the Wyatt Six and everything else, but they put in Joe Hendry, and I had zero problems with it because he's funny. He has a lot of personality. People like that song for some other reason, and then they clap along to it, and it works. It's a really great crowd. What is that thing when you do with the crowd? Response. Call and response.
Did you ever hear his? I think it was Chris Van Vliet. He talked about it with him. Did you ever hear why that song works so well?
No.
He did an interview, Joe Henry, and he explained that he literally did research and engineered that song on purpose because of it's supposed to be catchy. Like there's a proven science to how music can affect people, and he purposely looked for types of music to produce to elicit a response for the crowd, for them to kind of participate and be hyped up about his music. So he did this on purpose. Genius. And it works.
Mm-hmm. This is why I'm happy he's in TNA, because if he came to WWE, it had just been meh.
Yeah.
It would have been, some kind of random thrown together mix that you would have seen in, I don't know, someone's wrestling video game. Yeah. I don't know.
Looks like generic wrestler number 4.
Exactly. But they gave him, allowed him to do that, and he got personality and crowd participation just solely because of that. And I'm happy that he has that music. Also, I'm happy that it was him, because people are like, oh my God, it's a champion. He's squashing him. No. And remember what Randy Orton even said in the ring. Look at this. Look at everybody looking at you and applauding you. He's on a main stage that is watched around the world, because I do believe maybe once a year you may not watch wrestling. But the fact that it's on Peacock, on a random streaming service you can catch it on, everyone has the ability to tune in. And that's around the world. So he is given that huge spotlight. And oh my God, he got RKO. Yes. And he got remembered for that. So it was great. I can't even tell you who won the Randy Orton Seth Rollins match back in, what was it, 35 maybe? I forgot what year it was. That was when Ronda Rousey was there. So I can't even tell you who won, but I can tell you how that entire RKO is set up and how amazing it was, and that they was outdoors and how it was still work. But I can't tell you who won the match. And that, I think, is the whole purpose of what they did with Joe Hendry, was to put his name out there. Because also look at when we had not WrestleMania, Royal Rumble. Who the heck is Jordan Grace? We came out there, this Jordan Grace woman, all big and buff and tough and everything else. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know who that is, but I want to see her every single day. Yeah. She's on the show called TNA, and now she's on WWE. She's on NXT, but she's still on WWE. I can watch her. I don't see any problems with that. And I don't view it as WWE, saying we're the big guys over here. I'm going to stomp you down, you little person. Because if that was the case, they would have never even had them there. They'd have had their own talent. I'm pretty sure we knew that Rusev was there, but Andrade or something in the back after he was looking miserable in that AAA announcement. You go. But they didn't do that. And so I think that it was wonderful. I loved everything about it. It had such great personality, and it was just fun. And, we all look for that RKO setup thing. And it was great. And then, of course, he carries on to a more serious thing, which we'll talk about with John Cena. And Joe Hendry will do whatever he does on TNA. And everybody's happy, and I'm pretty sure they'll call him up soon eventually, like they did with Jordan Grace. So it was fun. I loved it. So then we get into this part where Stone Cold Steve Austin murders someone. She set that up so good.
I really think he was drunk the whole time. Did you see the ramp? The ramp that he missed also? He missed the ramp to get on the stage.
He missed the ramp and went directly into the barrier where it was like, you can stop it. He didn't even slow down, I don't think. He just kind of hit it. And of course, this was such a great payday. I'm pretty sure the person is fine. And then the black woman's looking at her like that was next. And was like, it was so amazing. But even if it was a gentle tap, I'd have been like, ah, and fell out. And it was serious. My leg. You hit me in my stomach, my chest, my head, stomach concussion. I would have played it completely off as well. So happy payday to her. But yeah, he completely missed the ramp. And then Nick Khan, all of a sudden you saw Nick Khan. I said, oh, it's serious. He's going to get good money. He came down there.
It's funny because after Stone Cold stopped talking, after he was done with his promo, he ran back to the woman. You can't really hear what he says, but I like to think that he says something, oh, shut the hell up. You're not doing nothing really happened to you. And that's the bottom line. And he just walks away or something.
What? But yeah, that was great. So then, of course, we have AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Logan Paul, he's one of those people who knows how to, he looks good. He may not be doing the technicalities, but he looks good. I felt that AJ Styles had to work at a different, slower pace.
Yes.
Because of Logan Paul. And it did feel it felt very lopsided with this. And of Again, Logan Paul is not a wrestler. He just knows how to look good. He's a good presenter, but he's not a wrestler. So, yeah, for poor AJ Styles, I thought that he deserved better. I did like the fact that Paul, what is his name? Logan Paul tried to hit the Styles Clash, when they do each other's moves.
Mm-hmm.
It was cute. But then, of course, for me, was the fact that we had Karrion Kross. It really wasn't even about the match. Karrion Kross was down there. We do know that Karrion Kross is trying to recruit some people.
He's doing like
after that lovely
devil's
rant that
advocacy
he went
type
on.
of, doing like a devil's advocate type of character where he's like trying to like influence people. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you saw his rant where he expressed his pipe bomb feelings about the company of Karrion Kross.
I didn't
See that?
Mm-mm.
Oh my gosh, I gotta show it to you later. But basically, he did a pipe bomb on somebody's wrestling show where he explained how he's busted his ass for all these years for the company and he's constantly overlooked. And he's sick and tired of it. And it was like, there was a moment Scarlett was there and it was like, wait, is this real? Because you kind of saying some things that's personal. She gives that look where she's like, wait, what? But yes, you have to listen to it. It's interesting. So what were your thoughts on the match? And you have to hear that thing.
I think it's the same thing as you think, pretty much. I think Logan Paul does a good job of just showing off. Again, I hate these celebrity matches, and I know he's been somewhat of a regular at this point now. I know he's like trying to make it I guess he's trying to make it a career thing to be with the WWE, but I still see him as a celebrity gimmick. Can't stand the guy personally. Can't stand the guy really, in the company. So overall, I just don't enjoy it. And I think AJ Styles is kind of just there to make him look even better. I mean, and AJ doesn't really care. He's ready to retire. He's got his life set. Like he's gonna be, he's gonna be a Hall of Famer. Like he's okay. He's gonna be fine, regardless.
I want him to do John Cena. Oh, go on. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go.
No, that was pretty much like I was gonna say. Like the match itself was just mediocre. It was just a lot of spots where AJ was trying to make Logan Paul look good, and it's just to inflate his ego some more. I don't like the guy. I don't want him in my wrestling matches.
Okay. Ouch. I will say this. He does a really great buckshot lariat.
Paul?
Better than some people. Paul!
Sure, I guess. Yeah.
I thought his buckshots are amazing. He knows how to get that height and the force.
Again, but AJ made it look good twice. Like he got hit with it twice. I think he got hit with it twice, but regardless, he got hit with some clotheslines a couple times and he made it look good. But that's all AJ. That's all AJ.
Yeah. That is true. Yeah. But yeah. So we have to do the whole Karrion Kross situation where he came out there and was like, he's some brass knuckles to Styles and he was like, here's some, but Styles wouldn't use it. So I guess he's not going to the dark side. There's no heel with AJ Styles.
Question: when did we last get a heel AJ? It's been quite a while, right?
Oh, was it TNA?
I feel like we had heel AJ when he had that mini Bullet Club in WWE.
Oh,
that was like 10 years ago, maybe.
Who's like,
was it the Good Brothers? I think they called them the Good Brothers or something.
Was it the Good Brothers? I think so.
But that was wild. That was a long time ago.
It was 23.
23? That wasn't that long. Wow.
It was 23. It wasn't that long. Yeah. It was. He had a heel turn.
Then.
His first time since 20. So before that was 21. But it was February 24th, 23, when he attacked LA Knight at Elimination Chamber when they was in Australia. Oh my gosh, that was right around the corner. We're really bad.
I guess we just love AJ so much. Even when he's heel, we still love him.
Even when he's heel,
because it doesn't feel like he's been a heel for a long time.
Because he was missing in 23, so he came back during Elimination, literally the previous pay-per-view.
Yeah,
and that's when he turned heel. Oh my gosh!
Never mind.
And that's when he attacked LA Knight.
Yeah, I was trying to go towards the direction of it would have been nice to see a heel AJ because we hadn't seen him for so long, but I guess we have. It hasn't been that long, so it doesn't really work.
No. So we saw him as a heel. I'm interested to see if they'll do something with Karrion Kross, especially after his kind of rant that he went on.
I gotta look that
up. Don't know whether or not it was. I think it was partially real. I really felt that it was like, because it was like, and I felt it too, because it was like this man has tried everything. Since remember he came in, then he got fired, he came back, and since coming back, nothing has worked. So I hope something works. So then we have the second surprise, or maybe not surprise. I thought it was going to be AJ Lee once again. But we have for the women's tag championship matches when the belts did change hands. And then the next day it meant nothing. And remember, this was all Becky Lynch's idea. Liz Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria, who I guess is a bird. They came in. She was a very pretty bird.
It's a Valkyrie. It's a Valkyrie.
Oh, that's what it is?
Yeah.
I thought it was a pigeon or something. I was like, oh, okay.
You're the third person that told me this. Is she looking like a bird? I'm just like, Valkyria. She's a Valkyrie. That's the whole theme of her gimmick.
You go MCU, girl.
No, Valkyrie isn't just MCU. It's Greek. It's a Greek mythology thing.
Okay, well, she looked lovely. I thought it was a pigeon.
Yeah, she looked great. Shoot, I'm sorry. I was gonna say. So I feel a bit hypocritical for saying this, but Becky Lynch was in the same situation of like inserting herself into something because of her, she's well known and she's got a little bit of pull now that she's the man. So her inserting herself into this match, I feel like was another kind of Charlotte type of moment. But big buts, I was happy that she showed back up. And you can hear it in the crowd as well. The crowd went nuts. And if you compare that to when Charlotte, she won the Royal Rumble, night and day when it comes to crowd reactions. Like they were happy to see Becky, but they weren't happy to see Charlotte like in the positions that they are. So like. That was a really good surprise, and the match itself was pretty good too. I think it was another bad political move for them to win the tag team champions because it's Becky Lynch. Because you have Becky Lynch who hasn't shown up in how long? 2 years, and now all of a sudden she's a tag team champion in one match at WrestleMania. At that I think that just screams privilege. And mind you, they scrapped Bayley. They took Bayley off on a fake injury so that way they could fit Becky into this. And for those who don't know, Bayley just recently did an interview and talked about how she's doing everything right in this company. She doesn't cause any waves. She doesn't cause any issues. She wrestles when she's asked for. The gimmicks that she's given, she deals with it. Any storyline, she does whatever she's told. She's the perfect employee. And she has said that she still doesn't understand why they don't push her the way they push certain other people. why they don't push her, why they don't put her on the posters, why they don't put her in some commercials or some ads, why they don't do what they do with other people. And I agree with this. So now this was kind of like another thing, is that now they kicked her off this tag team that they could have won together just so they can benefit Becky Lynch into it. And mind you, again, if you didn't know this, the Raw right after Mania, they lost the titles afterwards. They had the tag team championship for one night just so they could push Becky because she came back. I think that is such bullshit. Bayley should have been there. Bayley should have won the tag team with them, and they could have held on to that tag team ship. And now this is reminiscent of like why I understand people like Mercedes Moné walked out of the freaking company because of the way they treat some of the women wrestlers.
She said that she has a year and a half left on her contract. Do you see her going the way of going in general, even if it's not AEW?
I don't think Becky's going anywhere.
Oof.
I think Becky's either going to renew or she's going to retire and maybe eventually come back for like some special guest things or whatever. But I think she's going to be a WWE woman all the way, especially because her husband is a WWE guy and probably forever will be.
Who would I want to hit her husband? Becky
Lynch?
Oh, I thought you meant Bayley. I'm like, Bayley.
Oh, you're talking about Bayley. I'm sorry. No. I thought you meant Becky Lynch. No, Bayley? Oh, yeah. Ooh, Bayley. That's tough.
Remember her bestie is awesome.
Her bestie's in AEW and they still hang out. It's possible. I could see it happening because she feels like she hasn't been recognized enough. Like sometimes it's not just about the money, but it's about the work and recognition, and she doesn't feel like she's getting it. So maybe she's gonna look elsewhere. I think it's a possibility. WWE has been with her for a long time, but it's a possibility. It could happen.
Yeah, I don't. It's a very sad situation. I think that really should have nothing really happened. You could have debuted Becky and had some new match, a surprise match.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you didn't have to kick her off. And what's really sad about this whole situation, didn't she win the Royal Rumble?
Who? Charlotte won the Rumble.
Oh, that's right. I felt like she. Okay, I'm thinking of last year. Maybe I'm getting my dates confused. But the point is, she has been, as you stated, such an amazing company woman, and the match itself was like okay. It wasn't something that was memorable. I remember Becky coming out, but that was about it. There was really no situationship where that she even should have took her spot. And I believe that they stated that this is allegedly all Becky. This was Becky's like. What do you call it? Idea. From the beginning, and it's like you coming in to screw over somebody, but at the same time, remember her interview when she talked about Charlotte, I think with Ariel Helwani. She's like, oh yeah, she's jealous of me. I'm getting all these opportunities and I'm higher up and she's jealous of me. And then I'm like, I'm looking at you and I'm like, you're taking somebody else's spot. Yep. And Becky is that big of a name where she doesn't need to do that. It could just make something up for her. There's a bunch of people in the back. I don't know. You figure it out and then have that. But now all of a sudden she's tag champ. And then now she's not. So that whole thing was just a puff.
It was just a puff match. It was just to pump her up.
It made no sense. Yeah, and it made no sense for her to even turn on what was it, Lyra? It made no sense for that to even happen. Because it's not like, oh, we have a long history as a tag champ.
Right. And now she's pissed off.
So it's like, oh. Now she's angry. Like, why? I don't get it. I don't like it. I thought it was terrible. And I think that the pot and the kettle are calling each other. Because you're being basically another Charlotte.
I would absolutely choose Becky over Charlotte, but both of them are doing the exact same thing to this company.
And I think Charlotte might have. I wonder how she's doing when she saw the return of Becky. And then she got the belt. And she came back with her marriage is still intact. And everything else. I mean, she got a baby, she got a husband, and she had the belt. I don't know. Just don't crash out on us.
But she got a book now. I got to read too.
That would be interesting. Ooh, where do we go from? And then where do we go from here with Becky? She's gonna just feud with Lyra?
I guess so.
This
I
is
guess they're gonna keep Lyra in on Raw. I would assume they keep her there, and now she's gonna feud. I guess that's their way of
so is
bringing
that
Lyra out of.
I don't like it. I just don't like it. I think it's terrible. I think it's corny.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
then we're gonna go with this really small match that they just happen to randomly insert in there that a lot of people really aren't talking about. And so it's with these two new wrestlers. I think one is like you got to get on a road, the road of Cody. So like a Cody
Doesn't ring a
road
bell.
versus never heard of this versus some new
Oh,
guy.
you talking about Daddy's Boy?
Yeah, little Danny Boys thing, him. And then some random dude. I think you can't see him really. That's why everything was like in black and white. It was hard to see him. I think his name is Cena, or like Simi, or
No,
Jonathan,
John Cena.
John Cena. So John Cena versus somebody's Rhoda Cody.
He got a
What a
big
choice!
mouth. John Cena
He
got a
got a
big
big
mouth.
mouth. Got a very big mouth. What are your thoughts? Oh, and then there's some rapper, Dennis Roman. He came after.
Oh God, Jesus. So my thoughts on the match. Again, Cody Rhodes comes out with the flashy intro, and John Cena. I love John Cena's intro now. It's hilarious because since his approach is like, y'all made fun of me. You tell me I can't wrestle. You tell me this. You tell me that. So you get nothing. You're not gonna get anything from me. So like he gets no pyro. He gets no vignettes on his screen. It just says John Cena in black, and he just his music plays and he just walks down the ramp with like a stone cold face, no reaction, no high five, no pointing, no nothing. You get nothing. So I think it's hilarious. And then you got Cody Rhodes, usually Cody Rhodes stuff. The match itself, I think for the most part was okay from what I could remember. I really don't think there's anything too like memorable about the match. At least I can remember. All I could really remember is like towards the end, of course, the climax is the ref with the 1 health point. He gets hit and gets knocked out for a little bit. John Cena kind of like takes off the turnbuckle padding and takes advantage of that for a couple of times. I was actually waiting. I was hoping that Cody was gonna, cut a little bit because he got hit with the turnbuckle twice or 3 times. And my friend Danny, who's watching it also, he thinks that he dropped the blade, but I didn't see anything. So who knows? Either way, I think he should have seen a little bit of color if you're gonna throw your head into a turnbuckle, but it is what it is. Yeah, and then Cena wins, and the way Cena wins is just the stupidest freaking finish I think that has happened in a very long time, if anything, because I can't think of anything. You got Travis Scott comes in with a stupid ass song, and I say stupid ass song because I am an old man and I do not understand the music of today, so I don't care for any of these new people's music. I don't know who these people are. Y'all could throw that shit in the trash. But I'm an old man, sue me. So he comes out to his song. And he is taking, mind you, the match is still going. It's already been going on for the past 15 minutes. And this asshole walks down the ramp like nothing happened in that ring. Like he's sauntering in there, trying to look cool as hell. He just looks stupid. No sense of urgency whatsoever. Probably still high as he usually is. And he's walking around with this hardcore title that means nothing. He's probably just freaking bought that thing on the WWE shop and like just stop. Please stop. Go to the ring and do what it is you're supposed to do. And I'm waiting for Cody to give him his receipt, and nothing really happens. And what happens pretty much is just Travis Scott interferes and kind of distracts Cody. But mind you, Cody just got hit twice in a turnbuckle in a corner and on a metal post, and he had plenty of time to rest because this guy took his sweet ass time coming down the ring. And yet a little distraction with Travis Scott caused Cena to do something, pinned him, and won the title. So now Cena's now 17-time world champ, and he broke his record, broke Ric Flair's record, and I wanted Cena to win, but not like this. This was dumb. It was, and then the excuse at the end of the show was that I told you I was going to ruin wrestling. I told you you weren't going to get what you wanted. Like, no, dude. We still expect actual fucking entertainment from this product. And this was not entertaining. This was lazy crap that you just pulled. And on top of that, we got no Rock. This whole sell your soul storyline, we were expecting the Rock to pop up before or after Travis Scott has showed up. And nothing with The Rock. He wasn't backstage. He didn't talk to during a pre-show. There was no sign of The Rock whatsoever. So this was probably one of the worst finishes ever. And that's all I gotta say. Like, there's nothing to the match. So on top of that, it was a bad finish.
Yeah, this was the polar opposite feeling of WrestleMania 40. Where everyone was like, and look happened, and that happened, and this movie. And it's just, if you look back on WrestleMania 40, you could just see how horribly booked this match was, and how horribly booked everyone's storylines have been since then. You remember, it took like 4 people to beat up. What was it? Like Roman Reigns and everything else. It
was like an Avengers moment. Yeah.
It was an Avengers moment. It was a Thanos Avengers moment because this is what the company wanted. Because we're tired of the reign of Roman Reigns. We're tired of this man who, destroyed The Undertaker and whatever he was going through. And, everyone else did. We're genuinely just sick of him. Remember the record and like, I'm the big dog now. Remember they booed him it was almost like for the duration of Raw, where they booed him and he's like, it's my yard now. And Paul Heyman is just sitting there like, I don't know what to do. There's so many boos. But it took all those people to destroy Roman Reigns. The whole company. Remember at the end when Cody won, everyone came down there. El Grande Americano was rooting in the corner from Mexico. The Gulf of America. He was like, yay! He won. Everyone was just so incredibly happy. And then so you have John Cena, who is, on this terror and reign. Remember, he's a heel now. Everyone's so disappointed and heartbroken that John Cena is this heel after being a face for, 21 years, 22 years, however many years. And everyone's sad about that. And then the whole not answering questions, because that's what happened, I think, during the Elimination Chamber, where he did the press conference, and he was like, I'm not answering your questions. He did the mic drop.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, something crazy is going to happen. And this would be the part where I would say, oh, it was our fault, because we read too much into this, right? We started thinking things that was never promised to us. But then The Rock, like got involved, and he verbally said things to us. He did this, and your soul is mine. And this is remember that stupid press conference at Elimination Chamber? Yeah, this has been in the works for years. Remember that? Oh, and remember that one time when they were fighting outside and there was supposed to be this other secret guy. Remember the soul? What's going on with the soul? But actually, he was fighting in front of a truck where I think remember, The Rock was like this, and we're counting number 3, and like he was holding the pose 3 in that truck incident from like 2 years ago. and everybody was piecing the puzzles together because The Rock said this has been in the making from the beginning. So everyone's thinking, oh, this is before WrestleMania 40. This is the storyline and the whole trajectory. So then we get this. And I'm thinking from the very beginning, this is not only is The Rock come out, but remember Bray Wyatt, and remember during the Firefly Funhouse match where
Cena?
he was like, oh, he had a segment where Cena turned heel. Remember he joined the NWO?
Yeah. NWO, yeah.
What was he dressed in? Black and white.
Black and white.
What was the ring? All blacked out. And Bray Wyatt's like, yeah. And then John Cena's doing it. Dun, dun, dun. I'm like, oh my God. And then what does he come out to? Nothing but black and white. So I'm like, oh, Bray Wyatt was right. It's a prophecy. The man knew. This is long-term booking. And I'm expecting this amazing match. And then Cody Rhodes come out. And to me, it felt like the match itself was just meh. It felt like Cody Rhodes was slowing down his pace because of John Cena. He couldn't keep up. And the one thing, no matter what, John Cena's not a wrestler, really. He's really great at entertaining. He's really great at making you feel good. The babies love him. The Make-A-Wish kids are right there. But that was it. The match itself was just meh. And I just kept feeling sorry for Cody Rhodes, who, like, everyone in the company wanted him to win. And then when he came out, he got no one. He has no one. Not a single person to, like, yay, even cheer him on. And it's like, what happened from then and now? And then you have John Cena. To me, this has been an awful heel run. And I'm not, remember again, it's The Rock. We got to turn you. It's not Triple H. At least Triple H ain't telling us anything. But it's The Rock. Yeah, I want to turn you. And that whole thing has been a disaster ever since. This is the most boring heel run ever. And so when you get to this match and you got like the turnbuckle, oh, he's exposing the turnbuckle. It didn't feel like it was a heel move. It felt like it was like, oh, desperation. That even a good guy can make. It was just desperate. Even when they had him and he flipped, remember when he went and attacked CM Punk? And he was like, I'm sorry, I gotta do this. That didn't feel like a heel. That felt like a man who was like, I'm really desperate to win my 17th belt. This is the last time that's ever gonna happen. I'm sorry. I'm gonna tap you out though. Like, it was still within the rules. And everything that with this match, it just felt like it was just, I don't feel anything. He is not a heel. He is a man who was told that he has to turn heel with no plan. And then what happened, what we learned, there is literally no plan. The Rock, who is responsible for this whole Cody Rhodes and Mama Rhodes, and I want your soul. Oh, you're not going to give me your soul. So now I'm going to go and steal John Cena's soul. Oh, and here he comes. He's not there. We get Travis Scott. Why is Dennis Rodman here?
I should say, by the way, for those people listening, because you got to keep in mind, like what Dana is saying, like the frustration that we have for this is valid, because The Rock claiming during a press conference that this was in the making, this is years in the making, this is long-term storytelling and all this and that is all bullshit. So now we can't trust press conferences with what's going on, because The Rock just recently did an interview and he literally said that the only reason why he showed up for Elimination Chamber and continue in some sort of thing was because of ticket sales. They needed a big name so they can get ticket sales. So he involved himself in it so that way he can get those ticket sales. And he kind of like did this whole thing with John Cena and Cody Rhodes and stuff. And he even said the main idea was for Cena to be turning heel at WrestleMania, but they decided to do it at Elimination Chamber instead. So these were all last minute changes that was going on, all just for money. That's all they cared about was the money. So The Rock is ruining wrestling right now, telling us the real deal. And the real deal was everything was thought of at the last minute because TKO was freaking panicking because they couldn't get ticket sales. And they changed all this stuff and whatnot so they can get ticket sales and get the momentum going for the storyline. So none of this stuff was long-term. None of this stuff was in the making. All of this stuff was panic mode decision-making so they can get more money. That's all it is. And that's what pisses us off the most, is that The Rock is still just looking out for The Rock. That's all he was there for.
And it wasn't even supposed to be John Cena turning heel. Remember the thing? They kept going to Cody. You got to turn heel. You got to turn heel.
Cody was originally supposed to turn heel, yeah.
He was supposed to turn heel. John Cena was still going to be face. But he said, nah, I'm not doing this. He said, oh, then there was like, oh, maybe down the line, air quotations. But instead they went to John Cena. And John Cena, and this is why I'm so mad, he said with his own mouth exactly how he wanted to turn heel. He stated everything from the music to the look to the presentation to everything. And instead, because everything was just a cluster disaster thrown together without any, I'm pretty sure, no input from John Cena, or if he did have input, they didn't really listen to him. This is how they presented. I'll go out there and turn heel. I'm going to just do this. Yeah. And then you do, and I do this, and then I do this. Which, by the way, yes, has been done 15,000 times, but Evolution was like the last time I saw this. Which isn't even original, which none of it is even original, just in general, but it's frustrating. And then not only that, John Cena, The Rock then goes and gaslights us. Oh, it's not real. Because remember, not only us, but other commentators, people who actually have like big sports shows, podcasts, are furious about this entire thing. Dwayne Johnson, it's not real. You need to calm down. You need to
calm down. To, who was it? Pat McAfee, I think it was?
No, he went on the Pat McAfee show to address, I think it was Dan from Busted Open Radio.
Yeah.
Who had
the guy to calm down. It's not real.
Calm down. It's not real. Really? We've been watching something that we thought was real this whole time. You mean to tell me that multiple people have not been run down but a car by some way? And remember, Vince McMahon didn't actually explode in that limo?
That's the delusion of a powerful, rich man, that he thinks all his decisions that he makes is always right. And he doesn't realize that we understand that the product itself is not real. But you need to understand that you need to give us a proper product. You need to do proper storytelling. You have to do proper matches. You have to do proper twists and turns that you're going to give us, like these heel turns and all this stuff. This stuff still needs to make sense. It's no different than you writing a book or making a TV show or a movie. You still need to make the product make sense, and it just doesn't.
And I feel sorry for John Cena, because The Rock went on that rant where he gaslit us, by the way, went on the rant, oh, it's not real anyway. So therefore, I'm not going to pay attention to John Cena being heel. He can do whatever he wants to. You know, it's all fake anyway. This whole time, I'm thinking there's a plan. Oh, this is amazing storytelling. Nah, we just thought it because we could. What was the point of even telling us that? Why not go with what he said originally? Remember what he said after that? Oh, why wasn't you at WrestleMania? I wanted the spotlight to be on John Cena. Okay. Because remember, you could have said, I have his soul. So let's see what he does without his soul. And me not there. But I'll be there eventually. Right there. Oh, what's going to happen at, I don't know, SummerSlam. Or the next Backlash. Ooh, he's going to come for Payback. That's a pay-per-view too, Payback. So, but instead you decide to insult us? We know that it's not real. But we want to believe and go into the magic. That's the part of wrestling. Or else it's been a bunch of matches thrown together. You need storylines to make us, and this happened and that happened. Look at 41. I mean 40. WrestleMania 40. Remember that whole thing where you stated it was like the Avengers. And we literally were so locked in.
Which made sense.
Remember how we're so locked in we were? That we actually thought Dean Ambrose was going to come back?
Yeah.
Well, at least me. I put it in me. I was like, Dean Ambrose. They said, oh, Shield, whatever. I said, Dean Ambrose is here. Like, for 1 second, we collectively lost our mind. We like, oh, my God. Oh, my Jesus. That's not... that's the whole mean?
But you see, and that's the thing too. We have these expectations, as crazy as they can be sometimes, to expect someone like Dean Ambrose show up when he's clearly in AEW right now. But the finish was still done so good. It didn't matter if he didn't show up. Like the finish was still done very well, and it made sense. So like our expectations can go wild and crazy with all these theories and stuff, but you still need to have a cohesive, sensible finish to a story.
There was no finish. There was no nothing. It was boring. It was absolutely boring. And to me, it's just an insult to everything that everyone did. Seth Rollins busted his knees when he couldn't even walk. That was, it's fake. Everyone involved in wrestling, no matter how much blood, sweat, and tears you put into it, it's fake. Doesn't matter anyway. I think that was just really arrogant and really rude. And the whole match itself was just bland and boring. And Travis Scott took 20 minutes to get to the ring.
I'm sorry, like Cena doesn't get a pass for this too, because Cena's just as involved and just as fault for all this stuff than The Rock is, because Cena has just as much power, if not more or less, whatever. We can argue about that, but like Cena has influence, and he has influence over how he's going to finish this match. And I think this was still just as dumb on his part.
And what the heck is going on with Cena, by the way? Well, he's ranting about his love for Vince. This was just the weirdest pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So I'm like, are we in alliance? Because we all know where everyone stands with the company. We know that. That's not an issue. But the thing is that I just don't understand what's going on. Like mentally, we collectively lost our minds. But we're just so overly arrogant that we could just say and do anything without anybody thinking about it.
They get no repercussions. They're not going to get in trouble. They're rich and powerful. They're not going to get in trouble for any of this.
And I'm like, are you trying to be heel by saying that? I'm just like, I don't understand. There was really no point in letting us know that. There's no point for us to know that. There was no point to say that it was fake, to gaslight us that way. And then, I didn't want to I don't understand what is going on. And to me, it just, remember John Cena was supposed to be the one that ruins wrestling. I feel that was The Rock. Yeah. Is he ruining wrestling is he stating that on The Rock's behalf? Because I'm confused. And then when we have that documentary, remember the WWE Unreal that's going on Netflix, where we're revealing everything of how all the stories get made. What are we doing? This is no longer magical. I don't like this. So, yeah. So is there any other thoughts when it comes to this entire debacle situation? We probably won't get The Rock at all this year.
I'll tell you, after watching WrestleMania, I didn't fully watch Raw, especially after I watched Raw the next day. I didn't even care to watch it live because of how upsetting the finish was on the whole thing. And I think it kind of wrestling in general. Like I've been watching wrestling for about 30 years now, and I've mentioned this before on some episode that we've done before on Koalition, that I stopped watching wrestling only at one moment, and that was when Bray Wyatt lost the championship, or the Fiend lost the championship to Goldberg, and that was just a bad booking thing because they had already started booking the Fiend, like just burying him pretty much. He's been doing a lot of bad booking, and at that point, that was my last nail in the coffin. And I feel like this moment now, after especially what The Rock had just stated, I think that moment is creeping up again, where I was just like, the product isn't for me. I'm outgrowing it. And on top of that, you're disrespecting the adults of the product, the fans. Like, sure, a lot of this is for kids, and the kids are the important part, so they can grow into this industry and give you more money and buy the merchandise and love the wrestlers and all that. But the adults are still just as important, I would think. And I feel like you're about to lose one because of bullshit that you say like that. The Rock and Cena, and the way things are finished and done. I don't know. I don't want to deal with that shit again. So I feel like if they continue down this path, they're going to lose me as a fan again. How much do they care? Not at all, one bit. But if I feel that way, I'm sure hundreds, if not thousands, feel that way as well. And I would hope that would send a message. I would hope that more people could feel that way and stop watching the product and show that we're not going to tolerate this anymore. Let's speak with our wallet. Let's speak with our time and not give them what they want. Stop watching the show if you're not happy with it, and we'll see.
Yeah. We will have to see. Indeed, I think that this is just behavior that is Dwayne Johnson, because this is the same behavior and gaslighting for Black Adam. When Black Adam's numbers were not good, he tried to gaslight us about how great the box office numbers were. That Variety, I think it was Variety or Rap or one of those news outlets came in and explained how he held up production, which is why Red One was supposed to come out, I think, the year before, and everything else. And this just sounds like something of an egomaniac. And I hope that he just go away. He got what he wanted in terms of wanting to be considered a serious actor with his Martin Scorsese movie.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see that. He also has the A24 movie coming up, Smashing Machines, where he plays the boxer. So just go. Just go. I don't understand why I understand why he's here. It's ego. But he is hurting the product more than helping. So just go be a board member, which I'm pretty sure feels like, I'm not sure, but it feels like that was probably bought for him as well. And somehow her got strong-armed his way into that, because to me that makes no sense. Triple H gets nothing, but here comes The Rock on the board. So then, kind of lastly, as just mentioned, there's been a thing online where people have brought up that there is a video out that the Triple H did a while ago, basically calling out The Rock. Do you feel that this is all payback for Triple H and that is a sabotage for Triple H?
I don't think it's payback. I think The Rock's ego is big enough to the point where, like, I don't think Triple H affects him in the least. I think it's more of just building his ego more and his wallet more, obviously, his investment more. I think Triple H is an afterthought to The Rock at this point. Maybe Triple H feels a bit threatened with The Rock stepping into a board position. I would too, if I was him. So maybe Triple H feels a bit threatened about it. He could take it personally, maybe he feels like it's a business strategy that he needs to kind of help prevent, or kind of like maybe push for something further to get some more recognition and get a board position and kind of like do better and stuff. But like for The Rock, I don't think it's anything personal. I think it's more of just his ego and more of just getting more money and power.
Yeah, I agree with that. And as I always said, The Rock touches anything The Rock touches, guys. So there goes that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is everything. You want to talk about MLW or with the AAA?
Oh, the AAA thing? There's not too much to talk about. I feel like you want to talk about it like now? We change the subjects.
It's up to you. I mean, they just practiced it. That was it. We don't know anything really.
Yeah,
no. Speak English.
Yeah. The AAA thing was a freaking shock. I thought they partnered at first, but then like they were like, no, we bought it. We bought AAA. I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, good. So at least they can bring lucha wrestling, to the mainstream and kind of like help promote that a little bit more. That's great for the Spanish culture, luchador culture, a cruiserweight culture in general. I was telling Danny when we found out that AAA was bought, that I hope they don't turn it into some bullshit like 205 Live or some other like side show that never gets any recognition anyway, like a glorified house show type of thing. I hope they actually push it for something else. But now that we had heard that, we're getting reports that WWE expects these wrestlers to learn English properly in order for them to flourish, I guess, to do better and to get recognized or whatever it is, to get hired. I think that's a stupid cultural decision. Like, you bought this company knowing damn well what the majority of your staff is going to be. You don't buy a company and then completely change the culture, especially less than a week before announcing it or after announcing it. Like, you don't expect the culture to change just like that. Sure, hire some more people that speak English if that's what you want to do, but don't force the people that you already bought off to learn English or else hit the road. Like that's not conducive to good morale. That's not good for your image. It's not good for the company when you do stuff like that. But again, it's their money. They want to do whatever they want to do, and they just want to develop a monopoly to all these different companies. You know, it's not a monopoly, but you know, it kind of is. It really is. No one wants to admit it. There are other wrestling companies out there. So in the technical legal sense, it's not a monopoly, but come on, y'all need to wake up. It's a freaking monopoly at this point when you're buying that stuff. I was happy about it up until we got that report on the English speaking bullshit. So I think that needs to change quick.
And also let's Americanize this, yeeted Alberto Del Rio out.
You said that was a fake report.
that was a big thing. They got rid of him, essentially.
Yeah.
And he's no longer a part of that because of the whole Page situationship and his kind of history that has not been very good overall, of bad behavior. So they got rid of that. And then now my whole thing is what happens to CMLL, because maybe they team with AEW or something. Because, you know, now I'm starting to wonder, are they going to gobble up all of the Mexican luchadors, all of the superstars?
You think they're going to try to pull the same thing as WWE?
Yeah, like what is going to happen to CMLL?
Yeah,
that's kind of my whole situationship. Are they going to try to draft over and sign them over as well? Remember, Tony Khan is just many people may not like him. Not even just Tony Khan. Sir Strickland stated how WWE was trying to poach talent that was signed to AEW. They were trying to do contract tampering. So I'm wondering what's going to happen with CMLL in terms of that. And the fact that it's a monopoly. It's a monopoly point blank period. They have TNA. They now have AAA. And so who knows? No one is. I mean, Tony Khan's not really doing anything with ROH. So this is just another gobble situation. They have Evolve. Remember Evolve as well.
Yeah.
So we have to just kind of see. It doesn't look very good, but going over to basically the land of Mexico and then say, speak English. Was crazy.
You're an American company. You speak English now.
You American. Speak English. So, whew, there we go with that right there. So that should be interesting. So we just have to wait and see how everything pans out. We don't really have many details yet. We do know that they have a show. They have the Worlds Collide show that they announced. Where Andrade was like,
Oh yeah.
So that is a pay-per-view. That should be interesting to see. Yay! He's like, no.
Yeah.
No.
I'm just very after WrestleMania, I'm just very jaded about a lot of decisions. I think pretty much since TKO has been on board with everything and Vince McMahon got stepped away. And I'm not saying Vince McMahon doesn't deserve what he got. He deserved to get kicked out. He deserves the reputation that he has. But I'm just saying things worked a bit differently under Vince McMahon's regime, and I feel like, in retrospect, now I feel like we were better off with the way that he managed things, even though it was still just as bad.
Yeah. We shall see what ends up happening. I do not think that this is going to be like the demise of WWE. I don't feel that, all of a sudden we're going to look up and like AEW did 10 million views and WWE did 300,000.
No.
It's not going to be that kind of situation. I just think that this is just a very unfortunate thing. And I think it'll rectify itself once The Rock goes away. And then, of course, when John Cena retires.
Yeah.
So then maybe there can be some kind of calmness to what is going on. Just put a muzzle on Dwayne and everything should be much better, hopefully. And then, of course, we have that reality show. And of course, they have Noah. They're working with Noah. They have been working with Noah.
Who?
WWE been working with Noah. Noah in Japan.
Oh! I thought you were saying a name.
Oh no! Oh, I can see the confusion.
Yeah.
You know that Noah, that good old Noah wrestler.
Yeah.
No, the company. So yeah, so AEW, not AEW. So sorry, I saw A and then I saw the E from WWE and then the W. I said AEW, but AAA and WWE will have Worlds Collide, which happens during Money in the Bank, which is in June, which is around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be really fun and interesting, and more eyes on the product. Which, by the way, it's not like saying, "Oh, WWE just gobbled up this promotion that was, high ranking and amazing." They were going through a lot of problems to kind of begin with. This was not like a company that was thriving. I think they were probably maybe doing a little bit worse than TNA, which TNA I don't feel will ever die, especially not now with WWE, treating them like a field ground. But yeah, they'll be fine.
Yeah, people got to remember that when a company buys another company, it's not they didn't force their way into buying the company. Like the other company was either selling or they were approached about selling because they're not doing so well financially. So that's pretty much what the situation with anything that's bought. You don't just force someone to get bought unless they're doing some crazy shady shit. But majority of the time it's because financially they're not doing well. So yeah.
Yep, exactly. So that is kind of everything that has happened. And of course we'll have SmackDown tonight, which I have to fight for my life to go and see because I don't have cable. I'm really sad about that. Yay, Bills. All right, so I have been your host, Dana. He's like, oh, anything else that you have to say, Mr. Danny Martinez?
Visit the Koalition. Check out the other stuff that we make.
Yep, check out the other stuff that is being made over there. We're doing a whole thing on Sinners. We got the whole entire cast of the Sinners. It's very sinful over there. So that should be a lot of fun. And of course I have seen Thunderbolts. I can legally say I have seen Thunderbolts, and I have given a social media reaction. The reviews
I got my tickets on Thursday. We'll talk about it.
He got his tickets. He's going to see it. I have already seen it. Go see The Accountant. I've seen it 4 times. We have the interview with the entire cast as well. Ben Affleck looks amazing. John Bernthal is much shorter than what I thought he would be. But Punisher, yay, and Batman. So I have been your host, Dana. Once again, joined by Mr. Danny Martinez of El Grande Americano. And we shall see you next time. Yay!